Hello, everybody. We have a request today to go over the Budapest Gambit. So I'm going to do my best to unearth the secrets in my Lichess study to help you understand the main ideas in this opening, why it's good, why it's potentially kind of dubious, but this is a fun opening to play. Budapest, you the best. I'm going to start crying, guys. What's up, YouTube? YHN Noah, thank you for the follow, bro. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so this is how you play the Budapest as black. So this is an opening for black, and it's met with d4, okay? And it's more specifically played against the Queen's Gambit. So unless your opponent doesn't play, or unless your opponent plays, how do I word this correctly? If your opponent doesn't play the Queen's Gambit, if they don't play d4, c4, you cannot play the Budapest. But this is the most common response after d4 is to play c4. And the move that you play here is e5. And immediately, the engine says that it is plus 0.9. How do I get it to shut off the arrows? I really do not like them. I got it fixed. The move here is... both one knight f6. Yeah, everybody plays one knight f6 now. C4, and sometimes you'll see this move e5. All right. And the move that is most common after e5 is d takes e5, right? This is the Budapest Gambit accepted. Really quick, before we go into the actual accepted variation, let's look at d5 and why this is not a great move for white. Right off the bat, black has this pawn on e5 that is now uncontested, right? And another thing too, notice that we have not played d6 yet. So we actually have the ability to free our dark squared bishop. And I have a plethora of arrows right here that basically tell us where we're gonna maneuver all of our pieces, right? So we can play d6, obviously. Then knight d7, castles, rook e8, knight f8, knight g6. And we have actually a very comfortable position here. This is just an example. If they play bishop g5, h6 is always fine. And then bishop d4. There are some other tricks here. If they play bishop g5 right away, what is the move that black can play that immediately wins material? From my water bottle. What y'all know about this? What y'all know about don't hug me, I'm scared? Yeah, knight e4 is a good move. But white can actually defend if you play knight e4. So let's look at this. If knight e4, there is a concrete threat here, right? If bishop takes queen, we have checkmate. You can win on literally move 5 here. So that's a good point. However, oops, I just gave away the move. That sucks. White has defense here. White can play bishop e3. And after bishop takes, f takes, don't get me wrong, white is still worse. But white is also not losing. Queen h4 check, g3. Knight takes g3, and then knight f3. A little bit more complicated, I feel like, than it needs to be. And white might actually get active. I don't know. You can play knight e4 if you want to go for checkmate. I won't blame you. This is still good for black. But the move, as I spoiled it, is, yeah, bishop takes f2 check. King takes f2. And then knight g4. Very important. Now we do not play knight e4. Because then king e3. Look at this. Queen takes him. King takes knight. And white is actually okay here. The computer gives it plus 0.07. Which is insane. Okay, so the move here, yes, is knight g4, king e1, and queen takes g5, and black here is crushing rep a pawn. This knight is going to infiltrate. This queen is going to infiltrate. We're going to get the rest of our pieces out. f5 is coming. It's really, really good. You can win a lot of games like this. So, yeah, this is kind of a theme in this opening. White cannot play bishop g5. If he doesn't blunder, still, if he tries to play bishop g5 here, well, now knight g4 check is going to be met with pawn takes, so we can't do it. We push the bishop back, and the bishop can be very nicely placed on d4. Here, if white plays e3, well, bishop takes c3, b takes c3, and we've managed to trade our bad bishop and double white's pawns. We can still proceed with our natural development, maybe push on the king side, maybe try to attack these weak pawns over here. There's some good plans that are pretty straightforward for black in the declined Budapest Gambit. So it's one of the gambits that you really like have to take, and then boom, coming at here. We're going all out. All right, still aggressive, even if they decline, and black instantly equalizes if they decide not to take. Okay, so let's go back here. We looked at the move d5. Now let's look at the exchanged version of the Budapest Gambit. Okay, so this is d takes e5. And the move here that black plays is knight g4. I've seen other variations. The best move is knight g4 here. So there's a number of different continuations from this. This is like a tabia here. The move that I personally play is e4, and I actually don't have this move listed in my study just because it is kind of rare, but it is pretty solid. The idea behind e4 is to give back the pawn, obviously, immediately, and white's going to go for a better position, but we'll save that one for last, okay? Let's look at the first move, bishop f4. This is kind of the main line here. Next move is knight c6. We're going to put more pressure on the e-pawn. Knight to f6, and then bishop to b4 check, okay? So there's two lines here that white can do. The most common is knight bd2, and then we go out queen to e7, and we're going to take back that e5 pawn whether white likes it or not here. a3 trying to kick us out. We can still take, and my next question for you is, if they take our bishop, what can black do here? What can black do here, ladies and gentlemen? Justin Odisho got it. Yeah. Yes, sir. Very good. Knight d3 is checkmate. Look at this. This is a common theme in a lot of these tricky openings. When you have the queen on e7. What's up, GT Mason 8? Welcome. Knight d3 is checkmate. Okay, but this theme still persists. After knight takes, if they take on b4 again, knight d3 checkmate is still a threat. So after knight takes e5, they can do bishop takes, and then we go bishop takes d2, queen takes d2, queen takes, and black has effectively equalized here. We can castle, bring our bishop out, and then just kind of play this into somewhat of a normal endgame. You know, d6, and then we just kind of play from here. This is the okay position from Black's perspective. Not bad. This is approximately equal, and so as the player playing black, equalizing out of the opening, no real complaints, and there were some tricky moves that white had to find along the way. So that's the main line. We also have this other move here, knight c3. And knight c3 is a bit of an unorthodox pick, just because a lot of times people don't like it because you have the option of doubling white's pawns. But we don't have to take right away. Queen e7 is the move that I guess I would prefer here. And then sometimes white players will play this move, queen d5. And this looks like a really scary move, right? The queen is in the middle of the board. Maybe they're going to come here. If they don't know theory, this is kind of a tough move to find, because traditionally you're told not to put the queen in the middle of the board in the opening. But we take on c3 now, pawn takes, and then this is where it kind of gets crazy. We play the move f6, and f6 is a pawn sacrifice, but we're going to blow open the board and hopefully get our pieces aligned with white's king here. Okay, e takes f6, knight takes f6. Queen only has a couple different spots to move back to. If the queen moves anywhere over here, say, I don't know, queen g5, we can just castle. Our king is free. They get off this diagonal, and we are down a pawn, but black's activity is going to be more than enough compensation to render white's position pretty scary here. We're just going to launch our pieces. There's going to be access on the queen side if we really want to. This is fine. If the queen moves back, I don't know, to d2, then we can develop normally. We can go d6, e3, bishop g4, and I don't know, bishop e2, launch our pieces at white, queen c2, and we can even long castle this time if we really want to. And you have a direct highway for your rooks to come into the game. Black is definitely the one having all the fun here in this position, and it's slightly better for white according to the engine. But again, a human player playing white, especially in the lower levels, might struggle here if your attack is swift and successful. And again, white is up a pawn here, but these doubled pawns don't really count. They're sitting ducks. Okay, so let's continue. From this tabia here. So this is the move bishop f4. There's another sideline that you can play. Sometimes people play this move g5. I'm not going to go over it though. This is an interesting idea, but you really got to be on the ball to play this. I would recommend just playing knight c6. This is already tricky enough. Okay, knight f3, bishop b4 check. And we looked at both knight bd2 and knight c3. Okay, let's do something else. So we looked at bishop f4. Now let's look at this next move, knight f3. All right, knight f3 has a particular drawback that's different than bishop f4. Can anybody tell me what's different about playing knight f3 first instead of bishop to f4 first? Anybody? I always go against people who play d4, e4. Well, this move also has the benefit. If we go d4 and knight f6, white cannot play e4 because we would take the pawn for free. So immediately black is controlling the e4 square, which is, I guess, something that maybe the Budapest will be good for you. Okay, back to where we were. Knight f3. What's the move here after knight f3? Bishop check. Okay. So bishop check is actually an okay move. But the thing is here, white has bishop d2, right? And he's not losing a tempo. And bishop check was traditional in the last line, right? Like if we go back, if bishop f4, the move was to go knight c6 and then bishop check, right? Now if white goes bishop d2, well, he's already wasted a move going bishop out and bishop back. In this position, the difference now with knight f3 is that the bishop isn't out. I know that sounds super obvious, but white also has this really tender square on f2. So the move is actually bishop to c5. White's only defensive move is then to play e3. You see that? That's the difference. Because they did not develop the bishop out, they're now forced to play e3, and this bishop is going to be locked in, right? There's a pawn in front of his face, and he can no longer come out to f4 or g5. So this is kind of a better version of what we previously had because one of white's pieces is going to be trapped on the back rank, and the bishop in most lines is a key defender of f5. So let's see here. Obviously, we're going to bring the knight out. We're going to go knight to c6. And we're going to threaten to take this pawn here. And white a lot of times is going to go knight c3 and concede and be like, all right, you can take the pawn back. And that's exactly what we do. We do knight g takes e5, knight takes e5, knight takes e5. And this is already a pretty good position for black. The engine does prefer white, but a lot of time white just tries to develop like normal. Bishop to e2, we castle, and then a kind of a critical move in this position, it looks really low key, is rook e8. And the idea behind rook e8, besides just putting your rook on the open file, you're giving support to this knight, is literally to open up this square on f8 for your dark squared bishop. If he starts getting harassed out here, the bishop can actually be a tremendous defensive resource on the back rank here. And even in some lines, it will come to d6 as well. And not to spoil it, but we're going to go straight for white's king here. And the idea is a little bit untraditional, per se. After b3, black plays this move a5. All right? And a5 has a very interesting idea behind it. Does anybody know this idea? This is fun. If you see people play the Budapest, they do this quite a bit. A4 looks like it is what it might be, but what else does A5 do? It will be exemplified in this next move here. Ready? Ponder it. Rook A6. On the drop. Rook A6 is the move here. And the idea is to swing your rook over and checkmate the white king with it. Let's say white plays traditionally, knight e4, attacking the bishop. This again clears up the bishop f8 move. We can also go bishop a7. This is also probably fine. I'm also realizing that this is a little cut off on Twitch. That's fine. Bishop a7, keeping the bishop in line here. Oops. So you could play bishop a7 or bishop f8. Bishop f8 is a little bit more defensive, but this keeps the bishop aimed at white's king. Knight g3, and then just like I said, rook h6, okay? And next we have queen h4, and we're going to be threatening checkmate, and these two bishops are going to be pointed at the white king as well. Knight f5, rook f6, knight g3, and d6. And we've kind of achieved our lift here, okay? If he harasses the rook, obviously we got to move it around. But the key here is that we play d6 after we've already moved our rook to the king side. Okay, and then the whole plan here is to just launch your pieces at white's king. If we go back, if you chose to play bishop f8, this is still nonetheless the same. And, ooh, yeah, there's a little trick there. The plan is pretty much the same. I want to see if there's any famous games here in this position. Maybe we could look at one and see if anybody... I know Eric Rosen plays this as well. Lichess Database. Yeah, this has a positive score for black. 53% win rate for black, 43% win rate for white. And a lot of times people will play knight d5 and then rook h6. And now there's no way for this knight to harass the rook, and white is going to be in trouble. Let's see if there's any good games here in the Masters database. In the Masters database, there are 0 winning games for white. Let's see. Most famous move is g3. If they go h3, they go d6, knight f4, and queen h4. And I think that you already know what's coming. The bishop sack, queen coming in. We're gonna get some counterplay here. This rook lift is actually not a completely uncommon idea. Even in the last opening that I was studying in the Benoni, playing a5, and if your 6th rank is clear, or your 3rd rank if you're playing white, you can always lift the rook over this way. But it's a very cool idea, and it's a very aggressive idea, and I think it kind of... Hiya, bud. I'm good. Are you good? I'm good. How about you, baby? All right, let's continue. B3, A5. So this is this variation here, and this is also just an idea to be aware of when you're playing the Budapest. Sometimes even in the bishop... Oops. In the bishop f4 line, you can get into this. Here, queen e7. Even if they don't play a3 or whatever, sometimes people will play e3. You can still get this. Now it's a little bit less effective though, just because h6 is under control, but this is still fine for black here. Maybe we can even play d6 and try to develop normally. Let's see what else we have. Knight c6. If they play knight c3, right? So they concede the pawn right away. Well, we happily oblige. I put bishop c5. Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll go one thing at a time. So one thing that you can do is take back. And in the Budapest, if you don't do this rook lift, there's even ideas to like queenside castle, bring your pieces out, and then maybe even try and push d5 or castle this way, rook e8, and then d5. But we're going to put a lot of pressure along this e file, right? Because we have this semi-open file. Chris, I missed you, bro. Yeah, this is an interesting move, bishop c5, right? Immediately we're attacking on f2. If your opponent tries to take here, this is super, super, super bad because bishop takes f2. We're going to cook. I want to delete this line just because I don't want to. But yeah, queen e7 is one move. Oops. I hate when I do that. Knight c3 conceding. Bishop c5 here. Queen e7 takes, and then we're going to take back on e5. And black has a pretty good position here. Ooh. Yeah. And again, we're preventing b4, and this also can be an idea if weather permitting, you know? Let's continue. The rest of these lines are just kind of sidelines here. Queen d4. If we play queen d4, well, we have to defend the knight, so we play d6 here. Pawn takes, and we go knight c6, attacking the queen once more. If check, bishop e6. Check that out. That's a sexy move. Queen d1. Yeah, so let's go through that one more time. Queen d4. Oops. Queen d4, attacking the knight, defending e5. We play d6, defending the knight here. Offering to sacrifice a pawn, but this queen's early placement is going to be bad. Takes. Knight c6. Queen e4 check. Obviously, if they take again, we're going to win the queen. Queen e4 check. Bishop e6. And now if they take on c7, this glorious move, queen d1 check. How nice is that? That is beast. Bro, is that the Rudy? What's up, Rudy? I miss you, king. Takes, knight takes f2, king e1, and we win the queen. How dope is that? Come on now. We're going to be picking up this pawn. We have 1, 2, 3 pieces developed. White has 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 pieces developed. This king can't even castle. We're going to have all the fun here. Bishop b4 is incoming if he's not careful. This is solid. What other lines do we have? And the last line that I'll go over is actually the line that I play. And I'll do this kind of from memory here. Just because normally I play this for the white side. This is my like Budapest Gambit. Like, I personally don't think it's wise for white to accept the refutation here. I guess not really refutation, but the declination that I think is best for white is this move e4, and black will take, and then white plays f4, and they're gonna harass this knight all the way back to c6. And unfortunately, we have conceded the center, but this e file is your main weapon in your arsenal, right? So knight ce6, there's a couple different moves. There's two things that white can do here, right? And each of them is like not the best per se. So if they, a lot of times white players will play bishop e3 here. Idea being to stop bishop c5, right? They don't want the bishop on this long diagonal. However, black can go bishop b4 check, and after knight c3 takes, and these double pawns appear yet again, and black actually completely equalizes here. We can go queen e7 castle, and we're going to put pressure on the e file. Reminds, baby. What's up? H, what we should do if we changed a very good defender? What do you mean changed a very good defender? Okay, so again here, knight c3 takes, very, very good. So bishop e3 is not good. A lot of times people will play this. We just have to counterattack in this way. If white plays actually the correct move here, which is knight c3, black will be like, okay, I'm just going to play bishop c5, right? And you're going to think I'm going to leave this bishop on this diagonal forever. Well, a lot of times white will not know about this idea, but the best move here is actually knight a4. And we're going to take this bishop here. And there's this funny line. What should we do if we challenge a very good defender? Throw all your pieces at their king. Cut out their internet and make them resign. There's this interesting line. This is actually the line that I play. Bishop b4 check, and the best move for white is king f2. How crazy is this? Got to be very, very careful here. But the king is actually safe on f2. And white's going to play g3 here. But a lot of times people don't play this, and they'll allow you to play bishop e2, and then boom, queen e7. We can always support the bishop with our queen here, because we've developed these pieces, right? The knight is gone. In fact, it's all the way on c6, and we're going to castle, and we'll be okay. And again, we're going to put everything on this. We're going to put everything on this h file, d6, and bring our pieces out. And white, he does, you know, control the center, but he's overextended a little bit. Let's see. Bishop c5 gets met with knight a4. So a lot of times people will play a6. So now if we make, I don't know, a waiting move, then bishop c5. Now knight a4 loses its sting because they can go bishop a7, right? They have a little hidey hole. Yeah, they got weak pawns in the center, and these are going to be your targets, right? And especially the e pawn. You're going to put a rook here, and it's going to be a little uncomfortable for black for a while. And you sacrifice a pawn in the beginning, so you're not down a pawn anymore. It's just a matter of creating threats in white's position. Knight f3, bishop c5 we get. And if a6... here, white then plays bishop e3. So I would recommend here in this position, we play bishop c5 right away. And rarely they'll see knight a4. If they play something, you know, dumb or whatever, we can play like a5 and get a square for our bishop on a7. So if they ever try to go knight a4, we can chill on a7. Preserve this long diagonal. White will never be able to castle kingside. This is good for us. Okay, that guy is going to be an absolute thorn in white's buttocks. Precisely. Let's keep going. Actually, I don't even know if we can keep going. I'm pretty sure that that's everything in the Budapest. I just talked about the Budapest Gambit for like a straight up hour, dude. Holy crap. Thanks for watching, guys. Smash that like button. To learn more chess, follow the account, AstroGambit on everything. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.